Hey, City Point Church, another episode of our Wednesday devotionals. I'm coming to you from my home study. Like you, I'm quarantined, staying at home, and thankfully I have some space in my house where I can do that. This is where I do most of my studying, most of my praying, most of my reading, and so I wanted to talk with you today. I want to resource you today, encourage you in your faith, and resource you. So most of you are aware that the greatest commandment in all of the Bible, according to Jesus, comes out of Deuteronomy chapter 6, where the children of Israel were told to love the Lord their God with all their heart, soul, mind, and strength. And they were told from the heart to pass on this love for God to their children. So as people of faith, this is something that is super dear to us, something that we are just passionate about, is we want our children and our grandchildren to know Jesus, to know the Lord our God, to love God, to follow Jesus with all of their hearts. This is what we want desperately. And so as I'm reading through the Bible, I'm in now the book of Judges, and I came to this place in the book of Judges that was really heartbreaking. So after Moses passed away, Joshua took the leadership helm and led the children of Israel into the promised land. They began to acquire the land. They began to take the land that God had given to them. And then Joshua's an old man. He passes away. And the children of Israel, through that generation, continued to serve the Lord. But then it says in verse 10 of chapter 2, book of Judges, chapter 2, verse 10, and all that generation also gathered to their fathers. And there arose another generation after them who did not know the Lord, or walk according to what he had done for Israel. So something happened in Deuteronomy 6, this greatest commandment, love God and teach your children, pass on this commandment from your heart to them that they would love God also. Something happened here a couple of generations later where the children of Israel did not pass that faith on because their children grew up and they did not know the Lord. And for any of us who are people of faith, we know that's like the greatest heartbreak for us, is to have our children not know the Lord. So I want to resource you today. In fact, you're already being resourced in this. One of the things that we're being purposeful about in our time of stay at home, not able to meet in person, is through our City Point Facebook page, our official page. We also have a nursery page, City Point Nursery, where there's all sorts of activities and resources there, just reading material and such, things to do with your little babies and little children. So City Point Nursery. Then we've got City Point Kids, same thing, activities, different resources, readings, things that you can engage with your elementary age kids. And then, of course, our City Point Student Ministries, and there's Zoom meetings and content on the Facebook page where you can download those things, all sorts of things that we want to resource you with. Now, I want to give you also 3 other books, and I'd love to talk with you at length about these, but I know I don't have time for that. But this first one, don't judge a book by its cover, because it's a pretty bland cover, but this is called Disciplines of a Godly Family. Now, there's a group of men right now going through City Point Men, our discipleship initiative, a group of women right now going through City Point Women, our discipleship initiative for women, and it's a very intense discipleship initiative, and that each of those groups are reading a complementary book. The men are reading Disciplines of a Godly Man. The women are reading Disciplines of a Godly Woman. And this book is Disciplines of a Godly Family. And I would highly encourage you to consider getting this book. It's written by Kent and Barbara Hughes. If you've listened to my preaching, you know I quote Kent Hughes periodically because he's just such a great communicator of the gospel. And in this book, you'll find the ways to establish a heritage. I'm just looking at the table of contents. Ways to establish a heritage, to promote family affection, to start family traditions, the disciplines of teaching good manners, then all sorts of things like spiritually of how to cultivate your own soul, how to develop family ministry so that you're serving together as a family, and then all the way down to really practical things like common sense tips regarding discipline of children, regarding behavior. There's suggested reading lists, books for children. And also even things, there's even a recipe book inside of this. So that's a great resource for you if you're looking for content to build up your family. Disciplines of a Godly Family by Kent and Barbara Hughes. This next one is called Theology Book. And of course, it's about the different theologies of the Bible. And I just love this book. So you get theology of God, the theology of God. You get theology of people, theology of sin, and everything from how sin entered the world to God's promise of salvation, theology of Christ and who Jesus is as the divine Son of God, as well as a man. And so the theology of the Holy Spirit, theology of salvation, of how it is that we're adopted into the family of God. And it's just put together in such a great way with the simplicity, very biblically sound, but just simple, powerful stuff. So I'd recommend that book to you. And then lastly is this book might be my favorite. This book is called The Radical Book for Kids, Exploring the Roots and the Shoots of Your Faith. And so this book, this is a great book in that it gives really profound truth to kids, and it gives really practical stuff for parents to help parents work through some of the details of big questions that kids are asking. How can you prove that God exists? And it addresses that. Things like men who gave their lives for Christ, testimonies of people who did that. What to do when you get angry, how to clean your room, the Bible in one sentence, the names of God, it covers just a myriad of topics. So really great stuff. Just want to resource you today, another devotional for City Point Church. And hopefully that's helpful to you. I know I went a little bit over my 4 to 5 minutes, so I'm just under 7. And hopefully it's good for you. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.